Welcome to another episode of the Saturday Morning Snap Fantasy Football Podcast, the show that brings you weekly advice and news at the beginning of every weekend. Introducing first your hosts, Mac, Mark, and Landon. We're going to jump into our sleeper mock draft. I'm going to take the 4th overall spot. Landon's going to take the 9th. So you get a little bit of opposite feels here. At the 4th spot, I think it's really important to get yourself in a PPR draft, one of those stud running backs that is involved in the passing and running game. And for me, those guys would be Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, and we've seen Zeke sort of get up there this year in comparisons to previous years. But for me, Saquon Barkley, DeAndre Hopkins, Todd Gurley going off the boards, this is a no-brainer for me. I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey with the 4th overall pick. And, most people probably go Zeke here in a full point league. I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey. And funny enough, we sort of talked about this last episode, but it never got out to you guys. The difference between Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley last year was only 0.3 points in a full point league, just because Christian McCaffrey had 107 receptions and 13 total touchdowns. So he was just an absolute PPR monster.
Yeah, and at this spot, Devontae Adams is at the top of the draft board for me. However, I'm going to go running back just because I'm looking at the turn here, and there's a lot of really good wide receivers. Julio Jones, Juju, Mike Evans. So I'm between Joe Mixon and Melvin Gordon, and I prefer the offense in LA, so I'm going to go Melvin Gordon. I like him at the end of the first round.
And
I was really hoping for Julio Jones to come on the turn. But so here I have Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb, and David Johnson. All those wide receivers went off the board, and you might see that in a PPR draft. So I'm going to go Dalvin Cook there. It's really close
when you
between
see
that and
when you see a run
Johnson.
of wide receivers like that, like Devontae Adams, Juju, Mike Evans, Tyreek, Julio, do you think it's good to sort of pivot to running back just so you're not getting the tail end of that run? Or, how do you view that?
Yeah, just take value where you can, I think, and that's what you have to do. Let the draft flow. Don't have a firm idea of what you're going to select. Whether it's running back, wide receiver, you have to do that, or wide receiver, running back, or whatever it is on a PPR. Let it come and let the value. I think Dalvin Cook's.
I'm not huge at Stephon Diggs in the back end of the second. I would love to go Keenan Allen here. But I think I'm going to go David Johnson, start running back, go strong, see what falls to me at wide receiver. Keenan would have been great.
Keenan would have been really nice.
I've got James Conner sitting here for me. It's tough not to take the best player, and I know that James Conner is going to be the best player in this situation. I could pivot and go George Kittle at tight end. We've talked about the ramifications of going early at tight end. If I go James Conner here, I am really locking up some serious running back depth and value. They all have different bye weeks. So that's really, really nice for me. I think I'm just gonna go James Conner, take the best player available. Lets me be open to trades if I need to trade a stud running back for a stud wide receiver, but I feel pretty good in having those 3 studs to start. It's not the way that I really drew it up or wanted to do it, but I'm happy having those 3.
Yeah, so we have 2 tight ends off the board, and Travis Kelce and George Kittle. I'm in kind of a nice spot where Zach Ertz is still on the board, and I feel like getting that top tier tight end really does help me out. And I have a difference maker at the position.
I was thinking
about Brandon Cooks, and he ended up, and he's back. He got back to me. There's a run of running backs. It just, because of what happened on the with the teams around me, going heavy wide receiver early, they felt like they needed
Yeah,
obviously
and had it gone the
some
other
running
way,
backs. And
Zach Ertz in the fourth is not horrendous. I think that's maybe a good spot to take him. Coming to me, Robert
Mhm.
Woods is available, and I think I have to take. I need to get a wide receiver, and I'm happy to have Robert Woods on the team. Um, Good thing Cooper Kupp went. That would have been too tempting. Aaron Rodgers falling. You're gonna see him in the fifth round, more than likely. I'm really considering Jarvis Landry here. Devonta Freeman is enticing as well. I need to go wide receiver. There are a couple wide receivers on the board still. Tyler Boyd is a nice piece, but I'm going to go Jarvis. I think that Cleveland offense is going to be pretty strong. Lots to go around. Baker looked great last year. Odell might sort of help to take some of that attention away from Jarvis. So Woods, Landry, not the greatest 1-2 pair, but I think behind those three running backs, it could be pretty good.
Yeah, and for some reason, Kareem Hunt is still number one on the draft board. Aaron Rodgers is still available, Mike Williams, but I'm gonna go with a third running
Mm-hmm.
back with Devonta Freeman. I think
Yeah.
that's really good value in the fifth round. End
Yeah,
of the
I don't
fifth
I
round.
don't foresee him
I do.
being there come draft time in August, but it's nice that you're getting him there now.
Yeah, and right now I can go. See, the problem is I only have Brandon Cooks, and I do need some. I'm going through need now. I need some wide receiver help. Um, I'm looking pretty good. I'm not going to go quarterback quite yet. Will Fuller's at the top of the list. I'm a little bit concerned with his uh, injury history, so Tyler
Mm-hmm.
Boyd would be a pretty good number two wide receiver for me. So he showed what he did last year. I'm gonna stick
Yeah,
with
I would
Boyd.
agree. Um,
Alshon for me would have been really nice with that. Just the volume in a PPR league was great, but he
Now,
went
funny
a
that
pick
Rashad
before
Penny
me.
is going ahead of Chris Carson because that has not been the news. Um,
The hype around. I mean, he's a first round pick, right? And people are hoping, I suppose, that Penny will get the workload, even though the news is saying that Carson is the number one guy
yeah.
there.
Um, I desperately want to go. I want to go another running back. I'm not sure if it's the play. Chris Carson or Damian Williams would be probably great here. Sammy Watkins is interesting with the chance that Tyreek Hill is suspended, but I think I'm going to go with best player available, and to me, that's Damian Williams in a good Chiefs system. I think I got to grab him.
There's a lot of really good values out running
Mm-hmm.
back mid rounds.
So I've got Christian McCaffrey, David Johnson, James Conner, Damian Williams at running back with Robert Woods, Jarvis Landry. On the board right now, I've got Christian Kirk, Dante Pettis, Doug Baldwin, Robbie Anderson to choose from. The only tight end I might have considered would have been Hunter Henry there, and he's gone. So I'm going to have
He's
to
gone.
wait on tight end. I didn't want to take Hunter that early. Sixth round is a little bit too early for me. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Dante Pettis. I do feel good about that San Francisco team. Jimmy Garoppolo coming back. They've got a slew of running backs. Dante Pettis looked good last year. I'm gonna go with Dante Pettis as my sort of not a flyer piece, but he is. You're getting a little bit risky with him. But seventh round, not too bad for Pettis.
Absolutely, and I am thrilled that Robbie Anderson got back to me. I'm a big Robbie Anderson fan. I think that offense will take a step or two forward this year with the addition of Le'Veon Bell, Sam Darnold taking a step
Mm-hmm.
forward, hopefully as well. And yeah, I think he's a good option. He's a high flyer. You've seen the big breakout games
What do you
he
think
had
about
last
the
year,
Jets' new uniforms?
and so they look like if
The Rough
anyone watches the
Riders.
CFL, the Rough Riders uniform. I was never a big fan. I know people are really liking them, especially the helmets, but I don't like that color green. I wish they would have went with their a different, maybe a like stick with what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
now with the darker green. Um, so I'm here and I'm gonna go with Marvin
Ooh,
Jones as
all
another
right.
wide receiver. So I kind of went on a little bit of a wide receiver tear, trying to build up that depth. I'll probably look out running backs coming forward. There's some uh, decent, interesting options now coming into the ninth round. Who are
Oh,
you looking at?
yeah,
Let's let me in on your brain here. You have an interesting
I
draft
do.
board going. So um
So Trey Burton's available, top
you
tight end. I don't like Burton. I felt bad drafting him last year, and it turned out to be my suspicions came true. I'm not going defense because you should go kicker defense your last 2 picks. Um, I've got the New York Giant receivers in Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard available. There's a case to be made for both of them. Um, I'm not as high on Kiki QT as other people. So who do I like better, Sterling or Tate? I'm going to go with Sterling Shepard.
and I tend to agree with that sentiment. He had some really good games when Odell Beckham was
Yeah, and I
out.
think a big part of that
So
was Evan Ingram being there too. And
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not the Giants don't give me the warm and fuzzies.
definitely not. Do you project Sterling to go to the outside and take over what Odell Beckham did, and Golden Tate would stay in the slot where he's
Yeah,
produced so
I think
well
that is the
over
way
his
that
career?
it shakes out ultimately. Peaking at
Yeah.
quarterback here, it would be nice to pair or do a little bit of a stack. I'm just peeking Matt Ryan, Jimmy, Jameis, Drew. Uh, I could go. Oh man, I don't like this. I'm gonna stack. I'm gonna go Jimmy Garoppolo stack with Pettis. Um, I might not have that stack every single week, but at least it's there. I'll probably get Big Ben maybe
Mm-hmm.
later too.
Right.
It's kind of it's a really dry spot
So
in the draft. I don't really love the 9th or 10th round, and I think that's why we're looking at sort of tight end and quarterback there, because you can't really make too many poor decisions with quarterback, just because you stream most of them if you don't get those top tier guys anyways.
yeah, I'm probably looking at running back. I'm gonna go with Duke Johnson, not knowing his future. He is a pass catching running back, and wherever he lands, I
Mm,
think he'll be used uh, fairly well. And because I did that, no quarterbacks or just Dak Prescott went off the board,
no,
and I wasn't even looking at him. So I'm gonna
Jameis.
go with
Yeah.
Famous Jameis here, and get my quarterback locked up. I've always been a big fan. Listeners would know we're a big fan of Jameis
hmm
Winston this
And
offseason,
you're
so
starting to see more and
no
more
brainer for
quarterbacks
me.
go. Since I picked Trubisky, Matt Ryan, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Lamar Jackson, so a decent run. Drew Brees, Matt Stafford, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady still available, along with a couple rookies. Um,
So you might as well wait
for another
now,
quarterback, yeah,
right?
absolutely. I think I'm gonna jump in on tight end though, and to
Yeah.
me it's between Austin Hooper and OJ Howard. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Going by our rankings that we did a couple weeks ago, I'm going to go OJ Howard and just secure him. Not to say that anything could happen the next couple rounds or the next couple picks, but I'm just going to get him on my team, secure that, and maybe I'll take a shot. Oh, Julian Edelman's still available, which I don't know why he's being drafted in the 11th round.
That's broken. That's a part of
Yeah, I think
sleeper
an
that's
update to the
broken.
ADP needs to be done, because you've got Larry Fitzgerald and Julian Edelman both still available in the later rounds, and I think a lot of people would take those players over guys like Devontae Parker or James Washington or N'Keal Harry or Andy Isabella. Um, so I'm gonna go Edelman. I'm exploiting a sort
Sure.
of um, non-updated area of the draft, but it's fine. I like it.
Yeah. I might where do I need the most depth on my team? I could probably use another running back. At this point, I'm looking at maybe some rookies, but we don't know where they're gonna land. So I'm gonna stay away from rookies in this draft. I might go depth at tight end, Austin Hooper. Um, but he's not really like a boom play. He's not a guy that gives me upside. And in the 11th round, I'm just looking for
Mm-hmm.
mostly upside. Um, Devin Funches in Indianapolis is kind of nice. He'll give me some touchdown upside. I know I'm not the biggest Devin Funches fan, but he'll always be fine
Yeah.
with Andrew Luck. You want to get players on good offenses, and Indianapolis
Not
is a
only
good
a good
offense.
offense, but with an
So,
elite level
like,
quarterback. There's a huge difference there.
yeah. So going for an upside tight end here, I'm gonna go Vance
Nice.
McDonald. Uh, with obviously Jesse James is gone. Obviously, we know that Antonio Brown is gone. Why not get a guy that could be a red zone presence again? Though that's my logic for
Mm-hmm.
my last two picks is Funchess
Yeah,
and
and
McDonald.
for me, I've got 2 picks left until we have to go kicker defense. Um, I'm probably gonna go another. Probably gonna go like a flyer wide receiver. I'm pretty solid at running back. I got 4 starters, all of which could have great years.
Do you like
I don't.
Traquan?
I think I'd rather take the shot on DK Metcalf potentially. Um,
Right.
or I could go with old man Larry Fitzgerald. I think I'm gonna go
Mm-hmm.
DK. Just get a little bit of youth upside. Hoping Big Ben maybe comes back to me so I can get that stack, which he did, and just making sure my quarterbacks are not on the same bye weeks. Garoppolo 11, Roethlisberger 7. I'll go Big Ben to stack with James Conner. Hopefully get some PPR points on that, and
And if I also do double stack with the quarterback getting two, Matt Stafford has dropped
mhm.
so far. That offense has to get better. Uh, there's no doubt about it in my mind.
Yeah, I like.
And why not go Matt Stafford? If he sucks and he's terrible, I can drop him. He's my 13th round pick.
Yeah,
So
funny. Jesse
um,
James is going undrafted, although finding himself now in a starting role over Luke Wilson in Detroit.
right, yeah.
Do they
I think people are thinking Detroit
do they
might
have
take
Chris
a
Thompson
tight
listed as a
end.
wide receiver? As they do.
Do they? Chris Thompson, because he was kind of
Uh,
both, wasn't he?
debatably, debatably. Um, yeah. So one thing I was going to mention about the kicker defense spots, really, I would argue that it doesn't matter. You're probably going to be able to stream kickers and defenses throughout the year, and at time of draft doesn't really matter. All I'm looking for in the draft is somebody later in the draft as a defense who has a good schedule to open, a favorable matchup. They start at home, something of that nature would be great. Um, I haven't looked too far into it right now. The NFL schedules just came out, but that's basically what I'm looking for when I'm selecting a defense in drafts, because throughout the year I'm going to have 10, 12 different defenses throughout the year, right? So there's strategy within the season for picking up defenses, which we talk about, throughout the season. But at time of draft, I'm just looking for somebody with a decent matchup to open the season. I'm not looking to get an elite level defense and play them all year, because I don't want to spend my 9th round pick on the Jags or the Rams, you know.
Yeah, I tend to absolutely agree with you. I'm looking up the 2019 schedule
So while
here.
you're doing that, I'll read my team back for
If I
those
can
on
find.
podcast. Um, Christian McCaffrey, David Johnson, James Conner, Robert Woods, Jarvis Landry, Damian Williams, Dante Pettis, Starling Shepard, Jimmy Garoppolo, OJ Howard, Julian Edelman, DK Metcalf, and Ben Roethlisberger. Not a bad lineup. I don't I don't love that I started with 3 running backs, but I do think that they offer a ton of upside and a lot of flex. If I were to play this team, I would probably end up trading one of those three, maybe someone who has a great start to the year, and try to get myself a stud wide receiver. But I think for where I had David Johnson with the run of wide receivers, let's see, from Christian McCaffrey to David Johnson, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide receivers went between those picks. So it's just there's not a whole lot of depth there in those top tier guys. So I do think I made the right decision, but ultimately it would have been nice to get a stud wide receiver.
Yeah, I can't find the NFL schedule out at all, so I don't think it's actually released.
Well, I know
Either
it is
way,
because the Bears and the
I'll tell you-
Packers opened the NFL season.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Anyway, so my team is Melvin Gordon, Dalvin Cook, Zach Ertz, Brandon Cooks, Devonta Freeman, Tyler Boyd, Robbie Anderson, Marvin Jones, Duke Johnson, Jameis Winston, Devin Funches, Vance McDonald, Matt Stafford, and New Orleans D with Mason Crosby.
Is there anything that you regret from this draft or things you would do differently? Do you like taking Zach Ertz in the back of the third? Or do you wish that you had have got, somebody else?
I don't mind it. I was looking at Aaron Jones and probably going running back to start. But honestly, the difference between Aaron Jones next season and what Devonta Freeman could be isn't so substantial that it's a 2-round gap. Like you said, I think Devonta Freeman's going to climb up 1.5 rounds. So I don't expect to have that kind of value in the late 5th. I do wish I had a stud wide receiver, but just nothing really. I could have got Antonio Brown in the 2nd round. I was really hoping for.
Yeah, if I was you, I might have considered going like T.Y. Hilton, Brandon Cooks. That there's a possibility that those three teams between you and your next pick, they might have taken Zach Ertz with one of their two. So you probably would have got T.Y. and Brandon Cooks. But there's also an argument to be made that at the end of the year, T.Y. Hilton and Zach Ertz could have very comparable seasons. And with the position scarcity for Zach Ertz at tight end, it could very well be a really good pick. So you're sort of getting points in different areas. You're structuring your team differently. But I might have gone Hilton Cooks.
Yeah.
But who knows, right? But this is why you do mock drafts, because it's good to play and see.
This is exactly why, and it's nice.
Yeah, like I don't love my receiving core going running back start, but it is good to note. But you don't win your season at the draft. There's a whole lot more to fantasy football, but these are sort of the things that we think about when we draft. So you're going to see plenty more of these coming throughout the off season. Especially when we get into July and August, really getting into that draft season. But yeah, it's a short one today, but hopefully a good one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. And I think Landon and I will catch you next time. Landon, you want to hit him with the outro?
Yeah, don't let us know on Twitter, Instagram, who won this draft. I think it's pretty obvious that I won. But Mackenzie made a decent point. He's got Christian McCaffrey. That's a pretty solid pick. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Saturday Morning Snap. Check out our Twitters. And have a great week. We're coming at you late, but I hope everyone has a great week and is excited for the Masters. And then we're inching closer to the NFL draft. It's probably my favorite time of the year besides like fantasy draft season.
And wherever you guys are listening, if you could jump over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review, we would sincerely appreciate it. We want to make this podcast the best listening experience for you as the listener, and we just need to know how we're doing. So go over, rate, review. We'd love to hear from you.
Take care, Mac. Have a good week.
Bye. Bye. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Saturday Morning Snap Fantasy Football Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at SMS_fantasy. Support this independent podcast at patreon.com/SaturdayMorningSnap.